my idea for a Santa Claus slasher movie called Mall Santa.
That movie is a shit show. What you think you see, what you think you hear, that's what it's about. It's all theater of the mind. No, it's garbage. It's garbage. Mood and atmosphere. Now that I really like. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see.
Hey folks, how you doing? Dave McRae here. That is right. This is my idea for a Santa slasher movie called Mall Santa. Well, this is the basic premise. This is not a fully fleshed out complete idea, but this is the basic premise of my idea for a Santa Claus slasher movie called Mall Santa. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Dave, we've already had Santa Claus slasher movies. Yeah, I know it. But Dave, Bad Santa, the guy was a department store, Mall Santa. Yeah, I get that. But I mean, that was like a dark comedy and he was a thief and all that kind of stuff. No, this is like, this wouldn't be a comedy. It wouldn't be a dark comedy, but anytime you make a Santa Claus slasher movie, at least in the ways that I'm going to present here, I think there is a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek kind of angle to it. Do you know what I mean? It's often very difficult to make a serious, full-on play it straight Santa Claus slasher movie, that doesn't on some level feel like it has a little bit of a wink. So this idea may have a little bit of that, but I am playing it fairly straight. So imagine like Michael Douglas in Falling Down as a mall Santa. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about here, right? Now, my movie would take place in 1986. 1986. Why not, right? Utilize what's hot right now. The 80s, nostalgia, take advantage of that. You'd have all the 80s music in the mall and the 80s dress and things like that. And plus, it's a time that you can utilize more of the naivety and, less technology, the better when you're dealing with slasher movies, as far as I'm concerned, unless it's a technological slasher film or something to that degree. But if you want to go old school, the less opportunities there are for people to call 911 and the police at their disposal, cell phones, the better, right? So why not take advantage of it? 1986. It's a good year. So this is essentially about a guy who loses his job. He's at a very, very sort of down point in his life, like he's hit rock bottom, okay? And there's nothing really original about what I'm about to tell you in terms of my idea. I mean, we've seen things like this before. It's familiar. It's like having familiar pizza or cake, but it's good cake. It's good pizza. I don't know. I've had this before, but it's good. It's good. You know what I mean? So it's just a means to get from A to B and get to the meat of the story, right? So it's essentially about this guy who is down on his luck. He's hit rock bottom. Maybe he's lost his job. Maybe his wife left him. Maybe he finds out his kid isn't his kid. I don't know. If this was a full-on comedy, I would make like the kid Asian and the two parents white. And he's like, he had no idea that this Asian kid was not, it's like, how the hell do you not know that? But nonetheless, he's down on his luck and he doesn't know what he's going to fucking do. And it's around the holidays and he's got a friend or two or something that, is trying to help him, but like, whatever the case is. And we watch this insidious downfall, like in Falling Down with Michael Douglas. Just all these things begin to add up. And when you are at like rock bottom in your life, even the most inconsequential or what would normally be no big deal, like going to your cupboard, opening your cupboard to find your favorite cereal is not there because you've already gone through it. And you're like, oh, okay, well, whatever. I'll just go to the store and get more. But if you are at like rock bottom in your life, that's like, that's a big fucking deal. And it's a big fucking deal because you also stubbed your toe that morning. And it's a big fucking deal because you also tripped over the cat's dish. And it's a bit like, you know what I mean? It's just things keep adding up. They just keep compounding. And, like maybe there's other things, like there's certain little things in his life that he's owed that he doesn't get, or his car breaks down and all that kind of shit, right? Falling Down, Michael Douglas style. And he sees this kind of job opening, I guess, for a mall Santa. And he's like, oh, fuck. Like, I mean, it's seasonal. It doesn't pay very much. But I need money. I'm going to fucking do this. Now, I don't know if there's like mall Santa training or if there's any like underground sort of world of mall Santas or something. But if there is, maybe that's something we can throw in there as well. But nonetheless, he becomes this mall Santa. But there's still a lot of like, that doesn't relieve a lot because A, it's not paying him a lot. There's not too many 6-figure mall Santas walking around, and it's seasonal. So it's only like a month stint, right? It's not like it's job security. You know, I mean, it's so even though he's able to maybe buy some dinner and pay a bill here or there or pay some rent, he doesn't feel satisfied because he's a mall Santa for just 4 weeks, right? So he still has that added pressure. So everything shitty that's going on in his life is still shitty. And because it's like, well, this is not secure. As he's there and in the mall and kids are coming up to him and they're pulling on his beard. It's not a real beard. My daddy says you're not the real Santa. Like, again, we've seen shit like that before, but if it's done well, it works. It's familiar cake, but it's good cake and it works, right? And he's like, oh, yes, I am. I'm the real Santa. No, you're not. Lucy, come on, Lucy. Come on now. Come on. Whatever. And maybe there's like people that walk up to him and they're like, Bob? Like, is that you? And he's like, yeah, I thought you worked at so-and-so, whatever. And he's totally embarrassed by it. And maybe he meets like high school kids he used to go to high school with or whatever. Adults who he used to go to high school with, I should say, who like used to bully him or something. Like, it's all about the people that he meets. It's all about the characters and the different characters that he meets that are coming through the mall up to him with their kids or whatever, or they see him in passing, or they see him on his break eating lunch in the food court or whatever it is. It's all about the interactions with certain people, right? And this building and building and building. And maybe even helping him is a woman around his age dressed as an elf, right? Like, she's sort of like the wrangler. Do you know what I mean? And maybe she's the one that takes the photos too or something, right? And they develop a bit of a relationship, not a sexual one, not an intimate one, at least not yet. But, there's a bit of a commonality there. Maybe she's been through something in her life or whatever, right? And since his wife left him and all that kind of stuff, he's free to do that. And so there's a bit of we get emotionally attached to that. Like, that's a bit of sort of substance there. But it's all the different characters and people in the mall and shit like that till eventually it gets to a boiling point where he fucking loses it and he starts tearing up these people in the mall on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve in the mall, whatever he can fucking get his hands on. Again, Michael Douglas falling down, mall Santa. And whatever he can get his hands on, whether it's an axe, I know that's kind of like Silent Night, Deadly Night, but axes are great shit. Whether it's an axe or whether it's a fucking like knife or a blade of some sort, a gun, a chainsaw, whatever it is, he gets his hands on it. Maybe he finds even like a mask, right? And he puts it over his face. Not like a full, over the head mask, but maybe it's like one of those cheap kid masks, that have like the white string at the back, and he just it's some sort of Christmas themed mask or something. Maybe he puts that on and there's like this moment where it's almost like this transformation or something, right? And he just fucking, he finds those people. He finds those parents or those people or those kids that fucking pissed him off through the whole movie, and he fucking tears it up. And those parents who are not there, he finds where they fucking live. He finds where they live and he starts making his way into the fucking neighborhood. He starts making his way into the neighborhood on Christmas fucking Eve to find those people that were not at the mall, and at least on that day that he decided to do this, right? And he goes out in the neighborhood to find them, and he finds them through some sort of means, right? And of course the police are after him, and they're locking down the streets, and they're locking down the mall and shit, but shit hits the fan really hard. And again, I mean, this is a full-on slasher movie, so it's not a psychological thriller where you can really noodle the scenes and craft the shots and be a little more pensive and slow burn and it's you kind of have to get to the point, right? And so yeah, there's some mood and there's some atmosphere, but it's not like it's not like a psychological thriller, right? It's first and foremost a slasher film. But we play into the Christmas season, we play into the Christmas spirit, and we just watch this downfall of this guy who just fucking loses it. And maybe this helper is the only one that, maybe because they really bonded and they really sort of understood each other, maybe she's the only one that can kind of get through to him, maybe, but then he ends up like murdering her too. I don't know. You know, again, not a fully fleshed out idea, I should say. This is just the basic premise of sort of my idea. It's a Michael Douglas falling down as a mall Santa. And there's so many different ways you can go with that, so many different avenues you can go with that, but I think it'd be a lot of fun. And again, maybe a little tongue in cheek, you know, but somewhat serious too. Like it's not like Bad Santa. I mean, that's a comedy, right? This is like full on slasher film, but it's not but maybe it's more kind of like, I don't want to say a horror comedy, but like, you know, it's a little tongue in cheek. Like certain things about it maybe are a little tongue in cheek, you know, like the movie House, you know, or, but maybe not quite that far. You know what I mean? Like just a little tiny things here, like things that you know would be seen as a little absurd. You kind of have to acknowledge they're absurd, you know, kind of things like that, right? But you play the slasher part of it straight, you know, and I think that'd be fun. A movie that could probably be shot for like $5 million, you know, and just a fun, you know, 90-minute in and out sort of thing. Maybe the poster's like Mall Santa. You'll never sit on his lap the same again. That's a little cheesy, but you know, like there's shots of him in his apartment maybe, and in the morning he's down on his luck and like he can't find the cereal because it's empty, and maybe there's shots of him at the grocery store and he meets certain people and they're like, Bob, are you the new mall Santa? Whatever. He's embarrassed by it. But they're all people he just doesn't fucking like. He doesn't like these fucking people. And these people that he meets are eccentric and they're strange and they're fucking idiots. You know what I mean? So it really is like, we really do feel for the antagonist. We are telling the story through the lens of the antagonist. We are rooting for him. That's kind of the point. Do you know what I mean? So we make a lot of the people he meets very unlikable, you know, but they're almost caricatures. Like they're not caricatures where it's too cartoony, but they're kind of archetypal. You know what I mean? They're very kind of, you know, oh, that's that person or that's that person. So we can really kind of identify with Bob, I guess, if that's his name, and kind of play it that way. But again, it's not a comedy. It's a straight slasher, but maybe a little tongue in cheek here or there. Anyways, that's my basic premise for a Santa Claus slasher movie called Mall Santa. My name is Dave McRae. If you want to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, there are my links right below my name there. They're also in the description. Check them out until your heart's content. And when your heart is content, check them out again. Comment below and let me know your thoughts on Mall Santa. In the meantime, in between time, I will talk to you soon. Cheers.